my video review of the Hobby King Universal Heater System. This is the way it was shipped to me in this nice box. Let's open it up, see what's inside. There's the controller. And let's remove this out of the packaging. And you can see the controller itself has markings from 30 to 80 degrees, and that's in Celsius. And in case you're wondering, that's 86 degrees Fahrenheit to 176 degrees Fahrenheit. And here is the connector for the thermal pads, and then we have the input, which has some alligator clips on there. We're going to be converting that to my T-plugs that I'm going to use. I'm going to be using a 2200 milliamp hour Gens Ace battery, 3-cell, 3S, and that's what's going to be connected to here to power this unit. Now, let's look at the heating pads themselves. And I believe it comes with 2 of them. And here's your 2 heating pads with looks like Velcro on one side, and it has a little loop on the other side. And then it has the connectors. They're wired in parallel. Then it has the matching connector, which is going to plug into this a certain way. Let's see if it's polarized. It only goes one way. So that plugs in right there. And we're going to solder on the T connector on here. Then we're going to test this. The way this works is on, I believe, the highest setting at 12 volts input, it should draw 5.2 amps. And the size of these 2 heater pads are 310 by 80 millimeters. And let's just look at that in terms of inches. That's about 10.5 by 2.5 inches. We're going to be using this in another product, a Turnigy product, which is the Turnigy glove, Turnigy Power Systems. And we're going to have our transmitter in there, and I've marked with a little silver pen here where these pads are going to go and where the battery has to be. That's where the transmitter I'm using, which is an Airtronics transmitter, is going to be sitting in here. And I've got Velcro to hold it on the top. Let me back this camera up. So there's Velcro holding on the top, and we're going to put these heater pads in on the right and left side, right where your hands go, to allow some warmth to come in when we're flying the airplane. Okay, so I soldered on some T connectors on here on the input to the Hobby King device, and it's already on my battery, the 2200 3-cell. Let's put this thing right side up so we can read it. So I connect the battery up. We're going to measure the current also, and right now it's off. It just shows that there's power. So if I measure the temperature of these pads by themselves, about 76 degrees. So I'm going to turn the knob, and you can see the yellow LED comes on. And let's try it first at the 40 centigrade position. Now you see how it turned off? So I could feel these are warm, and you can see it went 80 some degrees. That one's at 92, 94. And it's going to vary depending on where this thing hits, because they've got the coils running in a loop right here. So you can see it turned off because it reached a certain temperature, and there's a certain thermal resistance this has and a certain thermal load, so it's going to hold that temperature for a given time. So if we increase this, there we go, let's go to the 50 degrees centigrade. Now you see the light comes back on, and you can see 89, 96, 107, 106, 109, 113. I can feel the heat rising, which is really nice. So you can see it's not coming off because there's no insulation. Now it went off. So it reached a, so there's feedback inside here to this controller, which is really nice. Let's go all the way to the extreme. Let's see how hot it gets. 80 degrees centigrade, which is 176 degrees Fahrenheit. Now let's let the heat up. I can feel the heat. It feels really good. I'm in a cool basement right here. So you can see it's varying 130, 135, 131, 142, 138, 149, 155, 158. Let's let that keep heating up. You can really feel it. So I can imagine this will really feel good on a cold winter's day inside that Turnigy transmitter glove. So let's measure the current. There, it's shut off, so it reached that temperature. So it's very nice that it has regulation so that you don't just keep using your battery up. Now let's put this to a current meter. Let's see what kind of current we get. So I have a current meter right here. Let's put the light on, and I have it on DC amps, maximum 10 amps, and I have the Hobby King temperature controller all the way set to 80 degrees centigrade or 176 degrees Fahrenheit, and it comes on. So I'm getting 5.5. Put that light back on. 5.5 amps. This is with a charged 3-cell, and if I drop it down, we're gonna have to wait till it cools off because the thermostat turns it off. But you can see the draw when it's not sending heat is pretty small. It's about 15 milliamps, very low, which is just the operating current of the circuit. So let's let this cool off. Let's see if we can get a reading on the lower temperature setting. Okay, so we let this cool down, and we have it on the 30 degrees centigrade position. (40 degrees centigrade) I'm going to put it on. So it's 5.5 amps. So what that tells me is that this thing turns on the same amount of energy to this heating pad. And what this temperature control does, it varies the time that heat is on, or that current. And that's what determines the overall temperature of these pads. So it's 5.4 amps out of a 3-cell, and it's going to do that regardless of the temperature, but the on time versus the off time is going to vary based on the feedback it gets from the temperature. So that's very clever, and that's going to work great. So we're going to install this inside that Turnigy transmitter glove system, and we're going to see how it does. So I made a little holding tray by using one of these bins that you can get at the hardware store by cutting it, and there's Velcro on the bottom. This is going to go to the bottom of the transmitter glove, and I have this Velcroed on, so this stays in place. Then the battery can just be dropped in place right there. And this is a nice convenient way to hold the Hobby King controller and your battery. And there's the finished product. I got my transmitter, and there's the battery and the Hobby King controller, and you just rotate the knob and you see it comes on the yellow LED and start to get warmth. And when you're flying, your hands will receive that warmth. And of course this will be closed, which will cause it to stay in there, the heat, and you're going to be wearing probably some kind of a coat which will go against these openings right here, and you have little insulated pockets. And there you go. You got your temperature controller right there, right within reach. And you can fly your airplanes in the wintertime. So what's my overall evaluation of this product? I think it's excellent. It's a very good value. It's small, lightweight, works really well. And I tried it outside flying. It was about 50-some degrees outside, and it worked beautifully. I just kept it at the 40-degree setting, and I'm sure when it gets colder, we'll be up to the 60 or 70. Should last about an hour's worth of flight, then you can swap out the battery. So I'm going to give this temperature controller from Hobby King a 5-star rating on my video review channel, and I hope this review helped you with your buying decisions. Thanks for watching.